Hey folks, it's King from Stay Tuned Sports, and I gotta tell you, I love energy drinks. They help give me that boost that I need to finish all my work, get through game film recaps from all of Sunday's games, and they provide that pick-me-up during a very long week. What I don't love is that crash and the jitters, the gross feeling you get with most other energy drinks. And that's why I tried Dubby, and I gotta tell you, Dubby is a game changer with flavors like Dragonade, Beach and Peach, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, the Dub Sludge. You can find your favorite or just get them all. There's no jitters, there's no crash because there's no sugar in Dubby. Plus, Dubby contains Neurofactor, an all-natural ingredient derived from coffee cherries, which has been linked to enhance brain function. You go on over to dubby.gg right now. That's dubby.gg to grab the best energy drink you've ever had. And if you enter the code STSports18 in all caps, you'll get 10% off your order. That's STSports18 to get 10% off of Dubby. Be better.
And hello there, all you stay tuned. Hey, listen, it might be the Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Don't get me wrong here. First quarter, keep it even. Second quarter, start running the fucking ball. Third quarter, take a power nap. Fourth quarter, oh shit, there's the rest of the game. Let's go.
Fuck it, I'm a diabetic. I will root for the team that will literally give me diabetes and death. Rooting for a team from Hershey is like a Catholic rooting for Satan. It doesn't make any sense.
This is Stay Tuned Sports, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here with our good buddy King.
You smell that, man?
Yeah, I smelt that the Giants overpaid another player on your team.
That smells like fear. That smells like fear coming from the city of Philadelphia and the rest of the NFL. Saquon Barkley is going to show up to Giants camp, and the Giants are going to roll over this league undefeated. Let's go, baby. 16-0, 17-0, New York Giants. I'm excited. This is wonderful. What a great way to start the day. What a great way to start the day today. Oh, man. Waking up in the morning, making myself some breakfast, some nice little homemade McMuffins here at Casa de King. Very nice. So lovely, making some coffee. Just settling in. It's going to be another late July day here. And what comes over the news as I'm listening to WFAN and Boomer and Geo, or however you feel about them, but they have traffic alerts in the morning, so I like to listen to them. Saquon signs a 1-year deal with the New York Giants for up to $11 million for 1 year. Dude, this was confusing for the first couple of hours after the news. It was confusing because it's like, what was the point? Like, what is this? What I don't understand it, because it's like nothing like that. It seems like the same. It doesn't seem like anything happened. Like it seemed like nothing here else was. There's no benefit from this. Is what it initially kind of looked like, But after some digging, or just some reporting, listen around, the big shout outs there to Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and Pro Football Talk and all the other people who do the shit that we don't have the ability to do because nobody lets us call them. But this is how it basically turns out. Is like this is basically the same exact deal that the franchise tag was. Okay. It's roughly about $10.1 million base salary. The only difference with this deal now is he's going to get $2 million guaranteed up front.
Okay.
So he's getting that from that. And there is $909,000 worth of incentives that can bump that all the way up to the $11 million number.
Yeah.
for this year. Those triggers, by the way, are 1,350 rushing yards, certainly attainable, big, but attainable. 65 catches, 11 touchdowns, and the New York Giants have to make the playoffs. So those are the triggers for that. So
each one of those is 100,000, or does he have to hit every single one of those to get
the way it's written? And again, I can only go by the way it's written. The way it's written is that all of those need to be met for him to get that trigger that bumps it up to 11.
Okay.
So he's going to be playing. He's going to be playing this year. He's going to have to play to try to get a little bit more of that money.
Oh yeah. He's got to show that he's not going to get hurt or anything too.
Well, again, last year he didn't get hurt,
and
I think he had a shoulder stinger earlier on in the year in that Panthers game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was held back in a game or if something like that, but I think he was healthy for pretty much the whole season. The question coming into this year was, even if he was playing on a tag, would he pull like a Lamar Jackson? Would he do like I'm injured and I got a contract coming up and I'm not going to risk it playing hurt for a team that franchise tag me or isn't going to pay me or anything like that.
Yeah.
And was he going to sit out or do something like that? Like a lot of people were questioning, like, was he going to quit on him like Lamar quit on the Ravens last year? And I don't care what anybody else says out there, and you can sit there and say, "Whoa, business decision," and whatever. The feeling and the reports that are coming out, or that did come out from the Ravens locker room last season at the end of the year and in the playoffs, was that Lamar quit on them. And there was a lot of angry people in that locker room. So that is what it is. Lamar quit on that team.
Yeah.
So that was going to be the question here. The thing that surprises me, I think I surprised a lot of people, was that there was nothing in the contract about not tagging him next year.
That's what I'm surprised about.
Clause in there, like you can't you can't put the clause on him. You get this deal, and then we either work out a long-term deal during the season, or to put into after the season, or all this other stuff, or that's it. But there's no franchise tagging, because that's the other thing too. If Saquon has a great year, gets all these incentives, does all these things, and the Giants do well, there's nothing stopping the Giants from just franchise tagging him again next year.
Yeah.
Other than maybe unless there's a gentleman's agreement, unless there's a my word is my bond, which I'm sorry, but in a business world, trust but verify. I want that shit in writing.
Yeah, exactly.
The
thing that I'm confused about, and even a couple of guys at my work were confused about when I said to them about Barkley signing, I always thought the rule, or whatever you want to call it, in the CBA is teams and the players have till July 16th or something, I think it was, to sign a long-term deal. Otherwise, you can't negotiate after that date. So
you can't sign a long-term deal after that date.
So just by signing the 1 year deal.
Right. You can do a 1 year deal, but you cannot do more than 1 year.
Oh, okay.
That's why, and that's another reason why everybody's like, 1 year, and it's basically the same as the franchise tag. And why do that? Because it does have the incentives, it does have the guarantee in there, which was the best that he was going to get.
Yeah.
And so it adds a little bit extra there to what was going to be. So it was either take the 10.1 million without the guarantee and without the incentives with the franchise tag, or do the 1 year deal, get about $1 million in the incentives, and get the $2 million guaranteed up front. Clear, it was the best he was going to get for now.
Yeah.
And, considering that deadline had passed where they could go ahead and get a long-term deal done, looking back on it, he should have, I think, signed the 1 2 year offer they made him right before the deadline. Looking back, hindsight's 2020 and everything.
Yeah.
But now we see what happens during the rest of this year and the next off season. But for now, that's all stuff to worry about at a later date, because right now Saquon Barkley is showing up to camp, and the Giants, I got a lot more optimism this year than I did last year.
See, that tells me that I think, at least in my opinion, that they must be close to a deal, like a long-term deal. Because why? So there was Barkley, there was Jacobs from the Raiders, and
I don't think so. I don't think so
So why did the other running backs do it?
Because maybe their teams aren't giving them the same kind of offer, or maybe they are holding out for more and trying to push the situation. Is Josh Jacobs going to do a Le'Veon Bell and just not play and be fined and take all that stuff and lose all of his contract money? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what we're looking at here. So right now, Josh Jacobs, I believe, is the last one. Or Dalvin Cook still hasn't signed, correct? Yeah. So Dalvin Cook is still out there.
Yeah. And I know that actually yesterday, because Barkley signed today. So yesterday, there was a couple of the running backs, Barkley, Jacobs, Eckler from
during the weekend.
They were going to get together.
Running back summit.
Yeah. Which I mean, I find funny. Like, what are you guys going to do? Make a running back union? I mean, you can't. So.
No, I mean, I get it from just the standpoint of figuring, because here's the thing, and I agree with to this standpoint of running backs kind of get fucked, because even when you do good as a running back, you don't get the rewards for that. Because you're seeing it, okay, you had a great season. You got all these yards. You got either 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 yards. You had these many carries. You had all that stuff. Oh, that's great. But that means you had a lot of wear and tear too. So we're not sure if we're going to give you, that kind of a long-term deal or that kind of money for somebody that is kind of beat up, kind of worn out, even if it's like that. I mean, look at Derrick Henry. Yeah. Derrick Henry is, in terms of NFL, I know that we're here arguing about people who make 10, 15, 20 million dollars and being like, oh, they're underpaid. Clearly they're not.
Yeah.
But relatively speaking, in the world of the NFL, these guys are underpaid compared to wide receivers, quarterbacks. Now, listen, everybody's going to be underpaid compared to quarterbacks. That's the nature of the beast. We get it. But some of these guys, like Derrick Henry, like Josh Jacobs, who was the NFL rushing champion last year, and look at him now. Like that's what I mean. Dalvin Cook, who's been solid for the last 3-4 years, however long he's been in the league, and he's still floating around now.
But the problem is, and a lot of fans forget this, as a GM, you're not paying for past performance. You're paying for what you think they're going to do for the future. On the flip side, the running backs are wanting to get paid for their performance in the past, not for what they're doing, what they're going to predict to do in the future. So, I mean, obviously that's why negotiations are pretty, I find it pretty interesting, because of that aspect of it.
Well, then you get into the argument of how much of a contract is in hopes of future benefits and how much of a contract is a reward for past success.
Yeah.
Because, you got to remember, at some point, Joe Burrow is going to be the highest paid quarterback, probably before the start of the season. They'll get that done.
Yeah.
I think right now it's kind of a chicken game between him and Justin Herbert to see who goes first.
Yeah.
And see who sets the market. But either way, the Joe Burrow is going to end up probably being the highest paid player in the NFL and probably highest paid player in history. Hasn't won a Super Bowl. There's no guarantee he's going to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is he clearly one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Absolutely. I don't think you can argue about it. But he's going to get that money because in his first 3 seasons, minus the fact the first season where he was injured, so first really 2 seasons and a couple games, he's brought his team to a Super Bowl that nobody thought they could go to, and really they shouldn't have. The only reason they were there because of him, because they didn't have an offensive line. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
And got him to an AFC championship game. where they battled back and forth with arguably the best team in the NFL and the Chiefs. So I understand that point, but I think that's what hurts running backs more, though, is they're seen as either more disposable or more prone to being injured or worn down or wear and tear because of just the nature of the position. So you have a quarterback that has 2 great seasons in Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL. You have Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, who are, Derrick Henry is, just who he is. And that dude is a fucking Adonis. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't have an ounce of fat on him and is constantly just the best running back in the league or damn near close to it. You have Josh Jacobs, who was the rushing champion last year on a Raiders team where he was really the only bright spot. And you have Saquon Barkley, who helped carry the Giants to a playoff appearance and a win that, by all rights, probably they shouldn't have had. And you have those guys have the years and the successes that they do, and instead of being one of the highest paid players or even one of the highest paid running backs in their position, they get told, yeah, but you're running down and you beat up a bit, and you really take a grinding out there, so we're not going to invest that much into you. We'll take this. And the other problem is that they're not going to get that much anywhere else, because that seems to be the prevailing thought amongst most NFL GMs. Look at Zeke Elliott is fucking out there floating around.
Well, and that's the problem, is those guys are workhorse running backs, and that's a dying breed. It's only a couple more years. You look at Philly this past offseason. They let Miles Sanders go, who he signed with the Panthers for, $12 million, say it was. And they re-signed Boston Scott. They brought in Penny from Seattle. Like, they brought 3 or 4 good running backs in, all equaled up to the same price as Miles Sanders. And they rotate their running backs. They had one of, if not the best rushing teams last year because of that rotation. So, the days of Derrick Henry running, 400, 500 times a season, that's going bye-bye. And
no, but see, here's the thing, and this is, the NFL is always cyclical. It is. So as much as people are like, it's a passing league now, and it is, there's no doubt about it. Look at the fucking numbers. The NFL is a passing league 1,000%. It is who's got the big ball, who can get the ball in the air, who's got the best receivers, fastest receivers, who's got the most accurate quarterback, all those things. At some point, there's going to be a team that says, okay, we maybe don't have the best quarterback, and maybe we don't have the best or fastest receivers. Let's work on a running game. Let's do a 1-2 punch again. And then that's the other thing, too, is that you can have defenses that are built to handle high-octane, high-flying offenses that won't be able to stop a running attack, like a true run-focused offense.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, it's going to go back to that, like it eventually does. It's a copycat league. It always has been.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the late 2000s when Miami pulled the Wildcat out?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody did the fucking Wildcat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that. It makes me wonder if, I think the next CBA, we might have a strike or we might have a lockout. It depends on I don't know which way it goes. But I have a feeling like there's going to be something talked about or negotiated specifically on behalf of the running backs, because I don't know how you fix this. If this is the way it's going to go, if this is how it's going to be going forward in the future, like, I don't know if you make it to where like a running back's rookie deals are higher or mandatory to be higher.
And see, that's the other thing too.
Because that's the other thing too, is when it comes to running backs, like, again, it's the prevailing thought seems to be after your first 3, 4, 5 years, well, you're worn down, you're beat up, you're grinded to dust. Now, so when you get to that point where you get your second deal, where most of these players, quarterbacks, receivers, defensive players, whatever, would get their second deal and get that big payday. Running backs are seen as, well, we already got everything good out of you that we're going to get. There's nothing else. Like you're not going to get better. You're only going to get more hurt and more pounded and more ground into the dirt. And we're just not going to invest in that. So it makes me wonder if that's going to be part of the CBA. Is if you have a running back that's drafted in the first or second round, like their rookie deal has to be a minimum, of this many tens of millions of dollars or whatever.
I don't know if they would be able to do money wise, but I could see them maybe doing something with the years, instead of
or short, just have a 2-year one maybe.
Yeah.
But even that, that's. Like I don't know if you would shorten it to maybe do only the rookie deal for running backs would be only 1 or 2 seasons, to see how that would
my
work.
thinking is think about hockey. You get a young prospect that shows up in the NHL and he gets a qualifying offer after that season. Okay, he plays good again. Well, now you want to sign him to either a bridge contract to see if he still keeps progressing, or do you sign him to a big, heavy long-term contract?
But those are your later draft picks. Those are the guys that start out in like the AHL or ECHL and make their way up. And if they make it, you get them on a 2-way contract and earn your place, kid, and all that stuff. When you're like a Connor Bedard or somebody like that, when you're a first, second round draft pick, like you're playing in the league.
Yeah.
You're starting off. Like Sidney Crosby didn't spend a fucking second in the AHL.
Yeah.
Alexander Ovechkin didn't spend a minute. Connor McDavid, they've never sniffed the AHL. When you're that kind of so that's what I mean. Like when you're Derrick Henry coming out of Alabama, when you're like that, I don't think that comparison makes sense. It's apples and oranges when you're talking about it that way. There is something unique, very unique about the current NFL running back situation when it comes to contracts and the money that they make, and when their rookie deals are up compared to all the other positions.
Yeah.
Because of how their position is perceived by a majority, if not all, of the GMs. Like you were saying, like it's one where they get ground down. So after 5 years, which is usually the rookie deals after they pick up an option for it, like they're not getting the compensation that other players do when they perform well. And I think that's the big issue that's coming from there. It's like you see the quarterbacks make all that kind of money on their second contract. You see receivers and cornerbacks like Trayvon Diggs just signed a 5-year extension with the Cowboys for his second contract. I think it makes him the 5th highest paid cornerback now in the league. You know what I mean? So right there, boom. There's an example. Right there.
When did he sign that? Just now?
Just now, about an hour ago.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I know a couple of weeks ago he was kind of, on social media beefing, saying,
got to stay on the news, man. I'm on Pro Football Talk right now looking at a bunch of the headlines. It's always good to stay up. So always have Ian Rappaport on your Twitter alerts. Make sure you know what's going on here, or X alerts. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck Elon's calling it now.
Yeah, but how many times did I tweet to you or text you and say, hey, Ian Rappaport said this, and turned out it was a fake account or something?
Yeah, because you looked up, weed bong titty smoker 49 or something. It's like, dude, you have to look at the fucking handle, not the fucking name they put on there. I have to tell you that all the time. But yeah, so when you get those actual counts and stuff like that, you get all the news. But back to the point is right there is just one of the examples that we're talking about. There's Trayvon Diggs, agrees to a 5-year extension with the Cowboys, makes him the 5th highest paid cornerback in the league because of what he's done in his first couple years here in the league, which granted has been great. Also, listen, he's got a lot of interceptions, but he's also been burned like a motherfucker. So let's, with it's feast or famine when it comes to Trayvon Diggs, but he still got his money.
Yeah.
But But again, now we just look at Saquon Barkley and look at him, and just in what he did last year for the Giants. I know he's had injury problems, but last year what he did with the Giants and helping the Giants get to the playoffs, win their game, the amount that he helped that offense, and it was pulling teeth to get the deal that he has now.
Yeah,
It's just a 1-year deal. But it's then to see what happens next year. And next year, he may not get any better. And if he hits the free agent market, what he'll get won't be that much better because of how like it might be more. It might be better than what the Giants give him, but it's not going to be anything spectacular.
Yeah.
Because of how the general thinking is among the general managers in the league. So, like, I think that is the issue that I think is coming from the running backs. And so I think in your next CBA negotiations and when that stuff starts to come up, I think you're going to get some loud noises coming from past and current running backs that are going to be like, listen, we need to do something to change that dynamic because running backs basically are getting fucked for being good.
Yeah.
We're good. We pump up the numbers. We do everything. And then when it comes time for us to get our reward, our payday, like all these other positions do, we get told, yeah, but you're beat to shit, so we're not going to give you any money. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
I agree with the running backs on this point. That's a problem that needs to be addressed and fixed when it comes to the NFL.
I mean, like I said before, I see where they're coming from, but also I see the business aspect of it. And, like we said, how the NFL is right now, it doesn't justify paying running backs, $15, $20 million.
As it currently stands right now, I understand why the GMs do what they do and why the teams do what they do. Because of the amount of time that there is in the rookie deals and the amount of things like that are going on and how, players really can't sit out without hurting themselves in the long run, if they want to be a sit out or hold out.
Yeah.
Like it hurts them. That's what I mean. Like with the next CBA, something's going to have to change because and listen, there's enough money to go around with the NFL. The NFL is the biggest league in the world. All you soccer fucks can chill the fuck out. The Premier League is solid. It's a major league. Shut the fuck up. No. All right. I'm sure it's big and it's wonderful. Everybody loves the Premier League. Oh my God, it's footy. It's whatever. Shut the fuck up. The NFL is the biggest, richest league in the world as it stands right now. I mean, one of the worst franchises in the fucking league just sold for $7 billion. That just tells everybody right there to shut the fuck up, okay?
And I don't think they're going to Red Wolves either.
I think so. I think they're going – well, they're changing – they're not going to be the Commanders, I think, for a while. I think they're going to try to get that last bit of Daniel Snyder stink off them.
Yeah. So
whether they go to Red Wolves, which they 1,000% should, or they go back to football team. I don't give a shit. Football team is fine. They got to get rid of Commanders. I mean, I'm sure. Listen, there's a lot of people, and from what I can see, there's a majority of people that want them to go back to Redskins, but not in this world. Fortunately, the amount of angry white people that'll be out there picketing the stadium. And that's who it was. Let's be honest. It wasn't even so much the Native Americans, especially since, the logo was drawn by a Native American. It was approved by Native Americans. It was however you feel about the name. That's the thing that bothers me too about that. If you wanted to get rid of the name or the name bothered you so much, or if people just thought it was an insensitive name for this time period, fine, whatever. The logo was not offensive in any way, shape, or form.
Oh.
I will go on record and say I think the Redskins had maybe one of, if not the best logos in the league. That was such a great logo. If you just change the name to, like, my initial thought was, why don't you just change your name to the Americans? Washington Americans, and you still have that because let's face facts, They were here first, so they kind of make sense. Call them the Americans. So you still have that Washington, D.C. American tie-in. You have the native imagery that is the Native American right there. It's still all meshes. Just call them the Americans. Boom, bang, bang, bomb, boom, 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 you're done. But no, they wanted to throw the baby out with the bathwater, or the Native American with the bathwater, as it was. And we got fucking Commanders with some weird fucking pig mascot that makes Gritty look like a good idea. So that is what it is. But I do think, from what it sounds like coming out of Josh Harris's office and Magic Johnson, part of that ownership group, kind of laying down some hints to, is that it seems like Commanders is not long for this world, which is only a good thing. Yeah. There's only but back to the point of that is there's more than enough money in the NFL to go around, to the running backs, to all these other guys. I mean, the NFL is making money hand over fist. Well, I mean, this is what I mean. We can give the running backs a little bit. So I think that's something that will be negotiated with the next CBA. And we'll see. But right now, I mean, again, we've been talking all this time about Saquon Barkley and running backs and all that stuff. Dude, there's so much more going on. We're getting right into it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like I said right before we came on, I said, we're a week away from the first preseason game. It seems like everything is ratcheting up now to NFL season, end of baseball season. I know you're not into it because Yankees suck. Orioles are doing really good this year.
But here's the thing: the Yankees are in last place.
Yeah,
but they're still 7 games over 500. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, for some reason, the AL East this year is just a fucking like, if the Yankees were in the AL Central, they'd be in first place by a wide fucking margin. Yeah, so it's like
I think the last time I looked, the Yankees were like 3.5 games back out of the wild card, which that's nothing. That's a series.
We're right there, and they're playing the Mets, so they should sweep that series, because the Mets are, boy, for a team that spent as much as they did and had so much fucking. Dude, the Mets.
Did you happen to see? Speaking of the Mets, did you happen to see the list of players that they're paying still, and that is not on their team?
Yeah, no, but that goes back to fucking Wilpon being an asshole. I mean, obviously everybody knows June 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're still paying a shit ton of people.
I'm like, holy shit! Like I was bitching when Angelos paid Chris Davis the deferred money. That was what they called it.
But that was Wilpon though, because he deferred everything because he was a cheap bastard.
Yeah.
And was just like, well, I'll just push it down the road. And that's what I mean. Bobby Bonilla is, I think it's until 2032.
Yeah.
Is getting $1 million every June 1st.
And he hasn't played in 20 years.
Bobby Bonilla hasn't played since I think the late 90s. Yeah. I don't think he played into the 2000s. So
yeah,
I mean, that's
he's a good agent.
No, just Juan was a shit owner.
No, that's true. But the other little bit of Giants news, and I don't know if you've watched the show yet. Did you watch the show on Netflix, Quarterback? Or Quarterbacks, I think they might call it.
I watched the first 2 episodes a little bit. It was okay. It's hard. It's hard to get past Brittany Mahomes, man.
That's my worry. Like I would just skip that episode.
Well, no, because she's just in a lot of it in the first 2 episodes that I watched, and it's just like, I mean, listen, I don't want to kick her somebody when they're down. Like I know not a lot of people like her, and I know she gets a lot of hate on the internet and all that kind of stuff. But she does kind of bring some of that shit on herself.
I could see that
out there. And again, I don't mean, like, listen, I'm nobody to be poking at how anybody looks or anybody's, things like that. I understand that I look like a fucking ghoulish freak. I understand that. Please understand when I say this. I'm not really making a judgment about anybody, knowing that myself am no fucking prize chicken. Okay, I get it. I just want to put that out there before I make this statement. there is something very trailer park meth head about her
Oh yeah.
that I just can't shake every time I look at her. Like she's got that face of somebody that sucks on a meth pipe. And
Oh geez, I can't get that image out of my head now.
part of that's hot. Don't get me wrong. You know, sometimes you want to go slumming. I understand that. But it's just, it is what, I'll tell you what though. During the ESPYs, her tits did look nice. So I'll give her that.
Well, for how much Patrick is making, you know, you can make him look nice.
Are they new? I don't know if they're fake or not. Are they fake? So I heard somebody said they think they're fake. I don't know.
The way she, I'm just basing it off the way she acts and everything like that. Like, you know, like you said, she has that trailer park trash type feel to her.
In that dress, they seem to have hung naturally. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry we're going on titty talk here. You know, we're not that kind of. We're not part of the patriarchy. We're not misogynistic, or are we? I don't know.
Just don't listen to this at work. That's all.
We're problematic people here. Apparently, me and Jimbo very problematic. We try not to be misogynistic or part of the patriarchal oppressive system that judges women by their breasts or whatever. But here we are.
The funny part is we're talking about boobies, and all I wanted to tell you was, did you see Daniel Jones is going to be on season 2 of Quarterbacks?
I saw that. I did not. I saw Justin Fields turned it down.
Really?
To be on season 2. Yes, Justin Fields turned it down.
Yeah, Peyton Manning came out and said that season 2 got renewed. Daniel Jones and 2 other quarterbacks. I forget who it was though, but Jones stuck out to me obviously.
Let's go. Let's go. Danny Dimes. DJ. Let's go. Well, I mean, the guy, listen, Daniel Jones, in all mannerisms and even sometimes his look reminds me very much of Eli.
Well, when he got drafted, that joke was he's Eli's stunt double in a movie.
And I like that. That seems to be the Giants' the guy who's steady at quarterback, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, doesn't do anything like that, just kind of stays steady. And Daniel Jones does that, and he fits that. And I do think he's a good quarterback. His stats bear that out. As much as he gets shit on by people in the media, people on social media, people like you, Philly fans, obviously.
Listen, I only shit on him when he trips on the 5-yard line.
Yeah, but he tripped on the 5-yard line after running faster than anybody in the NFL that year did.
And that's the problem.
He ran too crazy to me. Fast. That lanky white motherfucker went ahead and was the fastest guy that year. And it's like, how? Like, how is that possible? But it is, and that's what I mean. Like, you wouldn't think it to look at him, and I think that's the other thing too, that people don't equate him to being like a Lamar Jackson or a Cam Newton or something like that because he is white.
Yeah,
but he's a great running quarterback. And when it comes to that aspect of it, and he's getting, I mean, obviously he's done better with fumbling the ball. That was his big thing.
Yeah.
Every time he fumbled the ball every third time he drops back. It was fucking terrible. So last year he fixed those mistakes. He was a very highly accurate passer last year. Had great quarterback ratings, but he was still getting shit on. So I don't know what it is. Here's the only thing I'll say: if you're out there betting and you go to one of these sports books and do some betting, whatever Daniel Jones over under is for rushing yards, take the fucking over. That's going to be almost guaranteed fucking money. Because they always put it low, too. They always put it at like 6.5 yards or 10.5 yards.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is running for at least 30 to 35 yards a game. At least.
And really, all he has to do is run for a first down.
You know, and that's what I mean. Is like the Daniel Jones over on whatever his rushing yards are on these sports books is the easiest money you'll ever fucking make. Easiest money. So yeah, I mean, so I'm excited to see, you know, get the deep, in-depth look there at Daniel Jones, especially if the Giants can make a run this year. We'll see. Although it's going to be a lot tougher this year. The schedule is going to be a lot tougher. The division didn't get any easier. No. That's for sure. And you know, we'll see. You know, I'm excited though. I'm excited for this season. Not excited to see that Sterling Shepard and Wandale Robinson are on the PUP list to start training camp here, but hopefully towards the end they'll be better. They were both coming back from ACL injuries, so
Yeah, but Shepard was earlier on in the season, wasn't he?
he was week 3. Yeah, dude, ACL's still this is as much as everybody likes to be like, oh, we're people can heal fast and do things that like ACLs are still about a year injury. So we'll see there. But there's also this news coming again. Like I said, there's so much NFL news now. We are in it. We are in NFL season. NFL season really never stops, but here we are. San Francisco 49ers general manager John Lynch says that Brock Purdy is cleared without restriction. So all that talk about whether Brock Purdy was going to be ready for the season, are they going to do Sam Darnold to start off with? What's happening with Trey Lance or all that other stuff? This comes from Pro Football Talk. There's good news on the quarterback front for out of San Francisco as Brock Purdy has been cleared to participate in training camp after undergoing his offseason elbow surgery. As said, John Lynch said that he's good to go without restrictions. Now they're going to say they're adhering to like a strict kind of plan here for him. Obviously,
Okay.
To kind of get him back into it.
Well, hopefully the defenses don't touch him, so that San Fran cries and wants a 5th quarterback on the team.
Well, stop being dirty ass, dude.
How is that dirty? He was going for his. Go ahead.
Because you broke his fucking elbow and then you fucking destroyed the other one's fucking head to the point where now you had,
we can't help it that the offensive line sucked.
It wasn't that the offensive line sucked. It was that you guys were dirty ass cheaters. As always,
offensive line should have blocked them.
And then what happens? The Eagles go to the ball and, oh my God, the grass is too slippery. We can't play.
Kansas City complained.
Both teams had to play on that grass, and guess what? The better team won because the Eagles sucked dick.
Yes, the Eagles team did win over San Fran. The better team won.
No, if Brock Purdy plays in that game, San Francisco probably wins that game.
Brock Purdy had that little thing on his elbow while he was icing it down.
San Francisco plays in that game.
Saw Jack Johnson, Bob Johnson, whatever the fuck his name was, get hurt. He's like, no, you know what? I'm out.
If Brock Purdy doesn't get cheap shotted and knocked out of that game, the Niners most likely win that game.
No.
Because when Brock Purdy was in there, they were moving that fucking ball. That first 2 drives, and the second drive where he got hurt, obviously. But those first 2 drives, the Niners looked fucking good, man. They were moving.
So you're basing it off of just 2 drives, which maybe took up 6-7 minutes.
I'm basing it off of 2 drives where Brock Purdy was carving you up like a Christmas goose.
And you must have had a lot of gummies today.
No, I'm actually on coffee. I'm actually a bit of an upper today. I'm actually going to smoke a little weed after this is done. But we'll see. But God, dude, this sucks. We don't even play until fucking late December. This sucks. You got to go the whole season before the Giants and Eagles fucking play.
You know what? I mean, I don't know if you still have a PlayStation or not. Maybe I'll buy Madden for both of us, and we'll just play Philly Eagles every Saturday up until December. And we'll do a live
Giants,
show.
Eagles, Philly is the Eagles. Do you just Jimbo gauge your own team?
Maybe I had a couple gummies.
Maybe you did. Maybe you did. I don't know. I don't know what that wife of yours does or brings home. Who knows?
You know what I didn't have yet though, and that's maybe why I'm talking this way.
Why is that? What's that?
I did not have any W yet. That's what I did.
See, there you go. See, here I am talking about having coffee. But coffee, you drink too much of that, what happens? You feel like shit. You end up getting the jitters, which I'm sure is going to happen to me because I have a big-ass cup of coffee here. But you know how you don't get the jitters? And you don't get that weird caffeine fucking headache and you don't have all that other shit? You drink yourself some Dubby because Dubby gives you that energy without the jitters, without the headaches, because it doesn't have any sugar in it as well. That's going to help you too. That sugar that a lot of people put in their coffee too to make it taste better, that's going to make you all feel weird and give you that crash that other energy drinks do as well. Like, I don't know, the one that's got the weird horned animal on it. I don't know if we could say names or disparage them because then we'll get sued. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
No, because we have no money yet.
That's not where we are. But you don't have to worry about that when you have Dubby because they don't have the sugar. You're not going to have the crash, and you're not going to have the jitters. Plus, they also have neurofactor. Actually helps your brain. So there you go. You have an energy drink that gives you energy and doesn't actually make you feel diminished after you drink it. It actually helps you. This is crazy. It's wonderful stuff. Plus, they have a bunch of great flavors, especially here for summertime. Obviously, Jimbo, big fan of the Peach and Peach.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more of a fall guy, so I'm always more with the Dub Sludge because that's got the nice apple flavor to it. I'm a big apple guy here. And we're getting closer to football season, so that's it. Kind of getting ready for that fall kind of taste. So that's what I'm looking for. But if you want, you can go to dubby.gg right now. They even have some little sample packs there that you can buy. Taste all the flavors, find out which one is your favorite before you end up buying one of the big ones. And trust me, you're going to want to try them. Try all the flavors, test them out because you're going to love them. And also, here's the big thing, Jimbo, and this is something that may not know. They may not know this. They may not know this. I don't know how long they've been listening to us, so they may not know. But when you get ready to check out there at w.gg, in the promo code box, if you go ahead and put ST Sports 18, that's all capital letters, ST Sports 18, you're going to get yourself 10% off of your purchase. Insane. Look at that. We're already helping you out here. 10% off of Dubby to help you stay awake, give you neurofactor, help your brain, watch more football. Look at all the news that's going on. Training camps here, preseason. Oh, my God. Let's go. Dubby.gg.
And the other little tidbit I'll give you guys, too, if you haven't been following them on Twitter, and not sure if they have a Facebook, but I know they have Twitter. They just announced yesterday they have a stainless steel tumbler that they just came out with, 20 ounces.
Let's go.
Yeah. And we still got another month and a half of hot weather, so why not fill that son of a bitch up with ice and some W in there, and you're good to go for... I believe it said it stays cold up to 12 hours.
Look at that. And especially if you're out, you're walking around on the boardwalk or the beach, wherever you are. Like here in Jersey, we have the boardwalk and the beach out there. It gets real hot. It's been real hot here lately. It's been real hot everywhere. Whether you're in Europe, I know we got some listeners out there. If you're out west, the big heat dome they got out there in the desert where it's been, 115 for 20 straight days out there or some other kind of nonsense. Man, you're going to need to stay focused. You're going to need some energy. You're going to need some neurofactor. And you're going to need it to be cold. Why not do it over with W.gg? Get yourself that stainless steel container. Get yourself some W and be better.
Now, the other quarterback news that came out, was it yesterday or the day before, about Jimmy G finally passing his physical.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little bit of worry that he may not pass it, and then the Raiders could cut him, or something like that.
There was a whole bunch of talk about that, but no, he got it. He's going to be there. So here's my question to you. And I saw somebody, I think it was a Rich Eisen show. Somebody posed this question. I think it was on Overreaction Monday. But I felt it was good enough to ask you. Let's see what your thoughts are. I won't go as deep with it because they asked if you think the Raiders would be top 2. I'll say this: do you think the Raiders can either win their division or be a top? Do you think the Raiders can be a top 4 AFC team? Can they win their division? Can they be a top 4 AFC playoff team with Jimmy G at quarterback? Go.
The only way they have a chance of being a top 4 team is if they get Josh Jacobs to sign, whether it's the franchise tag or a long-term deal. If Jacobs sits out the whole year, let's say, they're going to be bottom of the barrel, because then,
even with Devontae Adams,
because they still got to take over the Chiefs for the division. That's not going to happen. And I don't care how good that defense is, the offense still got to play, and Jimmy G, yeah, he wins, but he's not the long ball guy. He's just a dink and dunk. So you take that running game away, and they're not going to score points. Now, if they get Josh Jacobs, I could see them being a top 4 team. I don't think they win the division, though. It's like what me and you always said about the Patriots when Tom Brady was there. We're going to pick the Patriots to win the Super Bowl until they stop winning, and obviously they stopped winning. And if you've listened to past shows, we haven't picked them in a long time to be a Super Bowl favorite.
Well, to be a top 4 team, they'd have to win their division. So basically, that comes with the question: do you think they'll win their division?
Oh, yeah, then no.
With Jimmy,
the only way they win that division is Patrick Mahomes is out for the year. I think Mahomes is that important to the Chiefs, and the drop off of talent.
So you think there's nobody in that division that can challenge the Chiefs?
I mean, other than the Bengals,
not even the Chargers.
Maybe the
division, not conference.
Division. Yeah. No, I think that the Chiefs win it.
You don't think the Chargers can challenge them for it?
No, not till
with Herbert.
Not till they get a new head coach. He's the head coach going to choke again like last year.
All right. I mean, here's the thing. I worry about already crowning Kansas City before anything starts. And especially with the AFC. Now, again, if we brought in the AFC, I think that's where you get a lot of the challenges in. But I think the AFC is tough, even with, and again, you got to remember that we've got Sean Payton in Denver. Can he get Russell Wilson back on track? I think if anybody can, it's him.
Yeah.
In which case, then Denver becomes dangerous again. Denver had a great team. Denver truly does have a great team around them. They had a really shitty coach last year.
Yeah.
Who was clearly a better coordinator than he ever will be a head coach. That much is clear now. So I think when it comes to that division, I think that Kansas City has plenty of challengers. I don't think it'll be the Raiders. Again, there's too many question marks around them, and I think they have to. The Raiders are on a you have to prove it kind of situation with everybody, especially after last year, because a lot of people picked them as a dark horse last year to come through and win and be one of those surprise teams, dark horses who really can push for it, and they fucking collapsed.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the other thing too is I think McDaniels is on the hot seat. He has to win. He has to make the playoffs to save his jobs.
Listen, in my mind, they should have never gotten rid of Bisaccia, but because the fact that he got that team into the playoffs with all the shit that happened to him 2 years ago was a miracle, especially after the Gruden stuff, the fucking guy murdering the girl with the car.
Yeah.
And, the other guy throwing the guns up and going to jail for that and all the other shit. There was a lot of problem with the Raiders that year, and they made it to the playoffs. And then they got rid of Bisaccia, brought in McDaniels for a team that was trying to build off of that and had that camaraderie. And they were garbage. He alienated Derek Carr to the point where now he's with the Saints. And I think that's a problem, And so that's another question too, is here's the thing. If the Raiders suck this year, it's McDaniels. And that's a shame that they would have blown up that team that had a lot of potential and had the ability to be one of those kind of real dirty, grinding kind of teams for Josh McDaniels. And this will be the second team he fucking ruined in that division because he ruined the fucking Broncos already. But when you look at the AFC with a broader picture, I think, man, it got tougher for a lot of teams in there. I think you've got to ask the questions now of is the window closing on Buffalo? How good can Cincinnati continue to be? Is Kansas City just going to always reload? What the fuck are the Ravens going to do? Are the Jets for fucking real? Did the Dolphins do enough? Are the Dolphins ready to fucking make a push? What are the Chargers doing with Herbert and Eckler there and all the other fucking tools they have there that are ready to go? The AFC South is the AFC South, but now the Titans, they got fucking DeAndre Hopkins. They got Derrick Henry. I mean, they seem to be ready for a push, even coming from the AFC South. And it was only 2 years ago they were the number one seed, and they got upset by Cincinnati on the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But Tennessee is still kind of right there when you think about it. Like there's, are the Steelers going to make a move in the second year with Pickett in charge in that defense, which is just
nasty?
The Steelers might make the playoffs on their defense alone.
Yeah.
Like that is something. So like when you look at the AFC, especially compared to the NFC, the AFC is a fucking dogfight.
I think actually, honestly, I think both conferences have equally gotten better.
No, not even close.
I think the NFC is
not even close.
Not saying the NFC is going to beat the AFC, but
not just on a sense of talent level and how many good teams there are. Not even close.
Oh,
not even close. The NFC has the Eagles, maybe the 49ers.
Well, the way you were just talking, that they should have bet Philly
and does well. And maybe Detroit, seeing on how they do this year, they got a lot of hype coming with them, but we'll see if they can start on a better footing than they did last year. At the end of the year, Detroit looked great, but it was that first part of the year where they were like 0-6 that didn't go well. So we'll see how Detroit starts this year. They got to start off in Kansas City. Talk about fucking putting your feet right to the fire. But again, it's the Eagles, maybe the 49ers, and then a shit ton of question marks. With the AFC, it's Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Jets, Ravens, Chargers, Steelers, Titans. Like, you can list off the teams that are legitimate threats, talented teams, even some teams that are maybe mid-level but are dangerous. We can fucking run through those. In the NFC, I was able to list two that are generally thought of to be kind of on that level. And then there's a bunch of also-rans. And I put the Giants in there too, because the Giants have to prove it. They did well last year. They exceeded expectations. Now we got to see how they do this year. If they do fucking 9-8 or 10-7 this year and just barely make the playoffs, is that considered an advancement? I don't know. I don't think so. I think the Giants have to show a lot, but they also have a tougher schedule. Will they be better? Will they not? Are they an elite team? No, I cannot put the Giants up there. But I can't, you can't put the Cowboys there either. Some people like to throw the Cowboys there. I'm not putting the Cowboys up there. Who from the NFC fucking North is there? Except for, like I said, maybe the Lions. But again, the Lions are still on a very much prove me basis. But outside of that, the Bears, no. The Packers, no. The Vikings, maybe. The Vikings were 13-3 last year, but they were a fucking joke 13-3 that got beat by the fucking Giants at home in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, again, the Vikings are a team that you would look at and say, oh, the Vikings, they could be a threat. They could be good. But fucking are they? Again, that's a team that still has to do a prove it to me. Anyway, the NFC South, fuck off. That entire division is garbage. And the NFC West, at this point, outside of the 49ers, Seattle is okay. Maybe we'll see how Geno Smith does in his second year as the guy there. But, by the way, those fucking throwbacks. Oh, mwah.
Well,
go back to those.
Before we talk about the alternates, jerseys, and throwbacks, I'm going to make a prediction right now, though. And you're probably going to scream or fall off your seat. I say the Bills don't make the playoffs this year. Just because I think they lost the starting running back, Hines. He's out for the year. All the shit going on with
was he their starting running back?
I'm pretty sure he was the.
I know he was a punt returner and I thought he was because they got him from Indianapolis halfway through the season last year.
Yeah, but I just think with all the distractions are going to catch up to them, and I think that they'll be close to the cutoff line for the playoffs. Like, I'm not saying they're going to go 2-15 or whatever, but I see other teams that are better than them that will.
This is what I'm saying. There's a lot of talent in the AFC right now, and that's what I was saying. I wonder if the Bills' window's closing. So yes, hot take from your point. I think we should mark this down. Know that what this is going out tomorrow. We're doing this a little day early here.
Yeah.
So this will be going out on July 26th. So July 26th, 2023, Jimbo is making the claim that the Bills will not make the playoffs. Put that onto the hot take counter. But I think I'm not dismissing it out of hand. I think that is a plausible hot take. I think that is a possibility given how talented the AFC is. Now, granted, I think it would take the Jets and Aaron Rodgers being what everybody thinks they can be.
Yeah.
With him there and with all the talent they have and their defense that they have and just how really just loaded up the fucking Jets are with Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is that missing piece, so the Jets would have to be that team. The Dolphins would have to be the team that they have kind of built around themselves and have bounces go their way and be that good. You'd have to have Josh Allen kind of revert even more like he did last year, having those, 15, 16 red zone turnovers between interceptions and fumbles, which was very bad. So, I mean, and then again, you'd have to have one or two surprise teams like either the Steelers come up and get a playoff spot or the Raiders or something like that. But I don't think it's out of the question that can happen. Now again, I'm not going to go out on a limb here and say I think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Bills will probably make the playoffs. Whether they win a division or get in a wild card is a very high wild card, one way or the other. I think the Bills make the playoffs. I think they just have too much talent there to not make the playoffs. But like I said, the AFC is stacked, and if you slip and have a bad couple of games, you have a 3-game, 4-game skid where you're not doing well, which can happen with the way the scheduling is. You can find yourself in a real bad spot real quick.
Yeah, in
that AFC. So it can happen. It definitely can happen. But I like that. Look at that. We're only in the end of July. We already got hot takes coming from you, Jimbo. I love it. I thought you were going to say something about the Eagles. Like, I think the Eagles are going to make the Super Bowl again. That's not that much of a hot take. There's nobody in the NFC. Of course, the Eagles are probably going to. The Eagles right now, I think, are the favorite to get out of the NFC.
Yeah,
so
I don't know what we're going to
do. Right now, on paper, the Eagles are the NFC's team.
Yeah, on paper. And
I can't argue.
And so was the Dream Team, too. And look what happened to us there. Damn Vince Young.
What?
Vince Young, the Dream Team. We on paper, that training camp, on paper, we were supposed to be the best team. We were supposed to be Super Bowl favorites and everything. And we won, 4 games that year?
Was Vince Young ever on the Eagles?
Yes, that was the year Vince Young, Javon Curse. This was right before Andy Reid. It may have been Ray Rhodes. Like it's far back.
Vince Young wasn't in the league then.
I know Vince Young was on the team. He's the one that dimed us the Dream Team.
No, Vince Young was on Tennessee.
Yeah, and then they
at that time, when Ray Rhodes was coaching them, I think he was in high school.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Because when did Texas won the Rose Bowl in 2003, 2002, 2003, 2004, whatever?
2011. Vince Young declares the Eagles to be a dream team.
What did you think? Dude, Ray Rhodes was the coach in the fucking 90s.
That's how long ago it felt that the dream team was.
I never heard the Eagles or any Eagles team referred to as the dream team ever.
Yeah, we signed Vince Young. Nnamdi Asomugha.
So you signed the Tennessee Titans, basically. You had Javon Curse there and Vince Young, and Vince Young was overweight and bad, and Javon Curse was at the end of his career. Yeah, so you had a bunch of old people there, and it didn't work out. No fucking shit.
But we were the dream team. We were supposed to be good. And
this is what I mean. This is why this is blowing my mind, because I, first of all, never heard that. All I think I ever heard, I remember. First of all, I don't remember Vince Young being on the Eagles. But if Vince Young was on the Eagles at that point in his career, like that was like I remember when the Eagles had Vic on there when you guys signed Vic, and you guys were pretty good for a little while when you had Vic on that team. But Vic, dude, maybe that's why. Did Vince Young even play a game? Was he injured the whole time, or?
All right, hold on. Let me pull it up because it keeps saying it. Regular season.
I do vaguely remember Curse being on the Eagles, but that was the end of his career.
Right.
Like he wasn't nearly the player he was.
The 2011 roster, we had Michael Vick, we had Vince Young, Mike Kafka, running backs Ronnie Brown, Deion Lewis, LaShawn McCoy.
Kafka's a coach. He's the Giants coach now, right?
Is he the Giants or is he still with Kansas City?
He's the Giants coach.
Yeah.
Kafka was never with Kansas City.
Yeah, no. Kafka was like a quarterback coach or something like that before he, moved up the ladder. Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, my boy Riley Cooper. Yeah, you don't
say that. Don't say that. We're already in trouble. People think we're misogynistic and patriarchal because we were talking about Brittany Mahomes' titties at the ESPYs, which granted is very problematic. We shouldn't do that. Do not bring up Coop. Do not. That's even, dude. No.
I wonder if he hangs out with country singers. I didn't say names, so I could mean any type of country singer, but you know who I'm talking about. Oh, I'm going to hell.
You spend too much time with those NASCAR people. Far too much time. It's not good. It's not good. I'm just saying.
I just can't believe you don't remember that though. That's a year before we started becoming friends.
Did he ever play? Because that's what I'm saying. I remember Vic playing. Vince Young must have been. He was the backup then, right? Yeah.
At worst, he would have been.
He's the backup. He was the backup to Vic because Vic was running that show. At that time, Vic was running that show. So that's what I mean. That's why I don't remember Vince Young there because I never saw him play.
He played 6 games. He started 3.
He was done.
Yeah.
He was done by that point.
He wasn't done. It was only 6th year in the league.
But he was done. Listen, fucking Jamarcus Russell was done after his first training camp.
Yeah, you know he also didn't watch the VHS tapes.
It doesn't, and he also loved his purple drink. I understand that, but that's there are some people who don't have long careers. Well, it was only his 6th year. Yeah, but by that point, he didn't have it, and that happens. Like Cam Newton had a fucking blazing first 5 years of his career, and then everybody figured him out.
Yeah,
and he is where he is. That's not to say that he wasn't the MVP when he wanted. He was. It's not to say that he wasn't a talented quarterback in the NFL. He was, but he just didn't have that longevity of greatness, and that happens.
Yeah,
he's not a Hall of Famer. That's okay. You could still be a great quarterback for a short amount of time, not be a Hall of Famer, but still be considered a great quarterback. I don't understand why everybody thinks it's Hall of Famer. Oh, he should be in a Hall of Fame. It's not. Listen, he didn't play that long. He wasn't that great for that long. He was great, but he wasn't great, I think, for the amount of time that you need to be.
Yeah. In
order to get into the Hall of Fame. He's more Hall of Fame of fashion, maybe. I don't know, because even that, a lot of his shit was weird. Looking like a grandmother most of the time. Half the stuff he wore was muumuus. But at the end of the day, just because Vince Young had some great years with Tennessee, as he was, but by that time he was done. He was washed.
Yeah.
That happens. But the Eagles, stop bringing up fucking Eagles teams that you don't even remember.
I told you.
You had to go look up who was on the fucking team.
I told you.
Remember how you were naming coaches from the 90s. Well, I think it might have been Ray Rhodes or before Andy Reid got there. He was playing there when Andy Reid was already gone, and he's getting fucking Kansas City. The fuck out of here.
It felt like Ray Rhodes was there.
Oh, that's the dream. Oh, it was the dream team. Nobody called it the dream team. I bet it was you calling it a dream team, drunk as hell in a bar, talking to fucking Donnie.
You don't know what you're talking about.
And in this case, Donnie was correct. You didn't know what the fuck you were talking about then. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about now.
I'm so happy football season's back.
Oh, we're here, baby. We're here. Football season's right back, ready to go. I can't wait for it.
I think that's gonna be it for us this week, though.
I was gonna say I think there was a lot more to get to, but we ended up just kind of bullshitting.
Yeah.
So that'll happen. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We talked about Purdy. We talked about Saquon and the whole running back situation there in the NFL. We talked about your
Dream team.
insane ability to remember a mediocre Eagles team from the early 2010s that you, for some reason, thought was the fucking 90s.
It was dark times, man. It was dark times.
Listen, you don't want to talk about hard times, man. I've been a Giants fan for the last decade. Ever since we won that Super Bowl, and it's been fucking downhill for 12 years ever since. Last year was our first glimmer of hope. Hopefully we got some more coming up this year, but we'll see. But yeah, so there we go, man. I think this is it. I think this is our demarcation line. I think here we are. It's time to go full throttle. NFL season's here. Let's start building it up. Start getting ready. We got to start getting into our training camp. We got to start doing our 2-a-days here and start getting ready for what's going to be, I think, just a spectacular 2023 NFL football season.
Definitely. So, till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo.
It's your boy King.
Dream teams suck.
You don't know what you're talking about.